Hi, it's Catherine Auman. I'm here with my friend and mentor, Vince Kelvin.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Vince has been a teacher of mine as well as a friend, and I wrote a book called Tantric Dating. Vince is the world's greatest pickup artist, and some people might think that's an unlikely bedfellows. However, I wanted to share that I think it was in our first session, Vince, you talked to me about how you, when you go out in the world, you treat a 10 fashion model the same way you treat a homeless person on the bench. And that changed my life. Could you say a little bit more about that?
So much more. So yeah, Tantra Pickup, the most common thread would be if the mind interferes, it gets very challenging. My basic humble understanding of Tantra, I've always had an interest, not to the degree of how much you know about it, would be that it's basically to just let go of the pressure of performance, to be more attuned into the moment, to let go of comparing, of doubting, of desire, and to just be with the experience. And what will jeopardize the experience of pickup are the same things, you know. If somebody will compare themselves to somebody else, try to imagine what the person is going to say before they even answer, take it personally, and so on, it gets very, very complicated. So I think the common thread for both would be liberation. Now, in the world, there's a place and a time for everything. Thank God, for example, we have numbers and letters to find a street, or technology, a GPS. At the same time, the best way to really connect with people is to not be fooled by the flesh. And because that will come short eventually. So to me, it's very difficult for any man, if they witness beauty, to not be hypnotized by it and to not be fooled by the package and forget that it's a human being within that probably has their own share of distress, bad habits, concerns, worries about rent, this and that. And then it creates an imbalance, because if we address someone for what they are not, we're not rendering them or ourselves a favor. So that's a wonderful place to come to that place of equality. Now, there's a polarity also. It would be unfair to give the same level of recognition in terms of achievement in the world to a homeless person than to Miss America. It's like, okay, get off your ass, clean up, and become Mr. America or something. So it's all about knowing what system will best support the greater good, because it's all about the greater good.
That's great, and that's something that we teach in that I teach in Tantric Dating too, which is that which we both teach, is that when you go out in the world with conventional expectations of who you can love and who you can't love, this has all been given to you by media or by some sort of prejudice or some sort of idea that isn't even yours, and you want to look beyond the exterior of the person and go out and feel like, where's my attraction? What's the truth of this at this moment? Not by some preconceived notion of who I should talk to and who I shouldn't. But actually, I think that both Vince and I find a lot more people attractive, and our students find a lot more people attractive, a lot more potential partners than the average person.
Okay, on my side, the guys watching, they already know you. You spoke at the GSLR and so on.
At Pickup Academy.
At Pickup Academy as well, and so on. So if they don't, you know, this is really, really, really remarkable, your journey, the depth of your teaching. And guys, you must, I didn't go very far in studying Tantra, but that's one of the elements. So now you'll be able to go further by studying that from Catherine. If I'm not aware of the possibility of that wonderful sense of inner harmony where I will not let myself down, I will not criticize myself, I will help myself. Doesn't mean that I may say, hey, great job the way you punched those random people in the face, that was pretty awesome. Okay, I will say like, hey, I don't know what happened. I'm very sorry this took place. You gotta get a hold of yourself. I'm here for you. Whatever triggered you, we're gonna work on this. Calm down. Everything is okay. I will never let you down. So even if I'm not aligned with that all the time, the simple fact that I'm aware of it makes me also more aware of the times when I deviate from that. And then it's like living meditation. Come back to a center of your choice, but we need to know what is our center so we can come back to something.
This is great. I just want to address that I studied with Vince. I found Vince on the internet. I had been dating for quite some time, and I wasn't getting the results I wanted. I was dating a lot and having a lot of fun, but I would meet certain men that I was more interested in, and I didn't really know how to make that work. So I Googled seduction coach, and Vince came up along with about 6 other people, and Vince had mentioned spirituality on his website, so I knew he was someone I wanted to talk to, and he was of course immediately a world-class charmer, because that's his business. But more than that, it was the spiritual depth. And so people think that pickup is, which it is in the hands of a lot of people, just sort of teaching men tricks to get women into bed. And I don't really have any problem with guys learning how to have sex, or I'm not against people having one-night stands or whatever. I think that that's an important stage of development for people. But once you get beyond that and start looking for love, which everyone's looking for, then I wanted to know how to create that in my life. So I started working with Vince. And as I said, the first thing he taught me was this sort of bodhisattva attitude of all people are the same. We don't really look at their exteriors. It's not that really important to us. That's a conventional world view. And then he started teaching me that you don't seduce other people. You basically seduce yourself. It's really a matter of what he was just talking about, which is we don't abandon ourselves. We're with ourselves. If someone doesn't want to be with us, we're still with ourselves. If someone didn't find that thing we said funny, I thought it was funny. That's my world. I'm in charge of my own attraction. I'm in charge of my own response. I'm in charge of who I'm attracted to. And in that world, there's no such thing as rejection, because it's like, oh, that person didn't want to play, that's fine with me, or that person might be a loser or whatever. But it's like I seduce myself, and I am with myself, and from that point of view, I go out and meet people. And thank you for teaching me about that. So there's a lot about the work that's misunderstood about the way you teach pickup, which is that that thing you were just talking about, which is we stay with ourselves. We cultivate love in ourselves. I was just doing a workshop on Tantra, and we're talking about if we can't find the love in ourselves, we're not going to be able to attract that with someone else. Do you feel that's true? That if you're not love, you can't attract love? Is that how you see the world?
Yes, and the practical aspect of it. All challenges that can evolve as the result of humans wanting to connect. And in this day and age, people connect, you know, there's like gender fluid now, there's this, there's that. So all challenges come from an internal misalignment. If you want to come full circle, whomever you are doing pickup, you know, for me, I'm not attached to any ways to go about it or any desired result, for as long as it's not a deviation of the higher purpose or the person's true intention. But it's just a reflection of an internal deviation. You know, I see a lot of guys that struggle in situations that are the result of them blending desire, yeah, want to be with someone, but too much doubt. So they end up talking to people that are not fully ready for them. And we got to come to that place of first no dependence. Because the moment we depend, you know, in any form of communication, whomever is a little more dependent than the other person will lose some of their power. What are you talking about, Vince? How were you first described? You were described based on your height. okay? So you were described based on your beauty compared to what, compared to whom, compared to what standard, and how beautiful was the person who told you that you were not so beautiful. You were then evaluated. Your intelligence was boxed by an evaluation by whom? Oh, that was the teacher. I'm a teacher. You want me to evaluate your intelligence? Yes, we will redo it. You are just one thing. You're pure potential. Yeah, but I'm not very good, I'm not self-expressive. Who told you that? And why did you buy into it? And what if they were wrong and you never realized it until it's too late to realize it? So all form of assessment of the self are just ridiculous. It's as bad as when they would tattoo people or put a number on a prisoner to recognize them. So you may think you're free, but you're the prisoner of the confusion between the assessments of others on you and your own misunderstanding of them or buying into them, and then your own personal assessment. What if we drop all of that right now and you only recognize yourself as being pure potential and you stop deciding what you can or cannot do?
I'm going to shift gears a little bit here.
Yes.
I'm going to be teaching a dating class for pretty conventional people coming up here after the first of the year, and I've invited you to come because these are people who don't really actually know how to go up and meet somebody, or how to, you know, how most people will go to some sort of event or out in the world and they'll see someone they're attracted to, but they're too afraid to go talk to them. You know, all these guys standing very cool with their beers and not really knowing how to do what pickup calls approach. So how to actually go up and say hi. And you know, I when I was with you, I learned how to do that and get over a lot of my fears. And I've invited you to come and say something to people about how do you get over that fear of rejection, and how do you just start moving in the world as a person who's not afraid to encounter other people.
That's awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm very, very excited. So you got to learn how to put it back into a context that frees you, will free you, not freeze. I got to watch out with my accent. Free will find you free instantaneously. Not that's my own example. If I think of that, there's no one I will not talk to. I'm not foolish. And every beautiful person you see is you remove the skin, they have a skull that probably will be burned at some point, and then will end up being dust. And the greatest achievement, the greatest invention, the biggest debate right now, the biggest struggle, give it what, 1,000 years, 5,000 years, in the context of infinity, it doesn't matter. So then we connect with the unbound.
So what he's saying to me, what I learned from that is
Good,
that
I need a translator with the rapidity of the... No, please.
Nobody's out of my league unless I grant them that. You know, it's like, that's a perspective that I can have of like handing someone the power to be out of my league. It's like, don't have to live in that reality. I don't have to live in reality where there's leagues. If I'm interested in this person, then it's my interest. I'm coming from my own center. But if I think that you're out of my league and I'm scared to meet you, that means I'm making a reality where I'm less valuable than you. And that's what we're taught to do, because we're in a society that's teaching us that we should not be free, not be the masters of our own fate. We should just, someone else should be in charge. And what Vince is talking about, what I'm talking about, is be free. Get rid of all that. Nobody's out of your league. Talk to whoever you want to. They also have a right to not talk to you. It's not, doesn't mean anything about me. I'm a free being. And so if you live from that reality, then you don't have to be scared to talk to people, because you're just out living your life. And I think when I started working with Vince, I was afraid of rejection like everyone else. And now I don't even think it exists. It's actually in my book. What does this concept of rejection even mean? It doesn't have to exist in your world.
Rejection only exists when we let other people's decisions become more important than our own.
Do you feel like that's changed, perhaps, being in a relationship? Being happy now?
Yes.
Because I think what we were talking about earlier is about people just going out and not really having any clue about how to meet people. And now this kind of perspective, I think, comes from both of us are happy in relationships now. And so I think then we can more look at people's quality and really see what they're doing with their lives, and because we're both in a position to want to help them.
Yeah.
Sounds
What else
good.
can we say in conclusion? In conclusion, what if we had it completely backwards, but nothing at a higher frequency would have gone wrong. It all so.
This is a good thing I learned from Vince.
At
Nothing has ever gone wrong.
Yeah, at a higher level of frequency, we're just going through the journey of enrichment, and the few things or the many things about this planet that make no sense. What if it's just like this will enrich you?
So Vince, I know it's unusual for a woman to come study pickup.
Yes, how refreshing.
And I know you didn't really see me out in the field. But tell me, how do you think I did as a pickup artist?
I think you have done phenomenal, you know.